Hi there, Glocal citizens. Welcome back to the podcast that inspires a borderless mindset around manifesting a new world. I am your host, Florence Odile, coming to you from... It's two things, right? I'm in this beautiful office with all of this art and what I sometimes would call artifacts in a facility that has become a monument here in Accra. And the backdrop is a rainy Accra morning. And so it's just so interesting to be able to see the gray against all the color and that's going to color our whole conversation. So I'm excited about this. And it's nice to be back in Accra. I have to say, I've been on the road for the last month or so, and you've been with me on the road. And it's always nice to just kind of know home. And as much as I lament Ghana sometimes, knowing home is why we're here. And I think my guest has a little bit of that to share as well. So let's get to her bio and get to our conversation. She is the co-founder and director of Nubuke Foundation, a visual arts and cultural institution based in Accra and Ghan in Ghana. In the early 2000s, she set up and ran the Black Swan Gallery in London, introducing Ghanaian, Togolese, and Nigerian artists into the diaspora. Under her vision and drive, Nubuke Foundation, set up in 2006, has become an internationally acknowledged arts institution whose robust and engaging programming calendar has been seminal in supporting the career of many of the mid-career Ghanaian artists and promising ones like Nanchikur Reindorf, Isaac Opoku, and Gideon Apa. Nubuke Foundation has become a creative community hub in the city of Accra, where informal learning programs, talks, exhibitions, drama, spoken word, etc. In WA, the foundation focuses on promoting strip weaving artisans and textile and fibre-based arts practice. I love it. Odile, Tevie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's get started. And I'll give you some background. How we met is another Glocal Citizens event. It's NYU Comes Together. We've met before, but we actually had a conversation at the Laboni Dialogues, which was hosted by Glocal Citizen Chike Frankie Edozian. And so we were there, we got into conversation, and this year is a special year for you. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we always ask our guests first, is where are you from? Where are you local? And what is your craft?
Where I'm from Ghana. I was born here, I was raised here, went to school up to university, and I left to live in England for 20 years. And my ex was living in England at the time. So I upped myself and went off to England for 20 years. And so I'm back in Ghana. Actually, 20 years ago, I moved back to Ghana.
Okay.
So my life has been partitioned in 3 segments.
Ghana,
London, England,
and Ghana again.
Yes, so Ghana is very much my local hood.
Okay, so tell us more. Where is your local in Ghana?
So I spent a considerable amount of time in East Legon, which is where Nubuke Foundation is. But I live in Tesano, which is one of the suburbs in the western part of Accra. It is a hidden gem in the city.
Tesano, yes.
Yeah, it's luscious and green and lots of birds and a haven. I've been quite lucky, I must say, that all the different places I found myself sort of planting myself have been cul-de-sacs. It's a quiet little streets far from the madding crowds. And so that's where my house is in Tesano.
So in your part 2 in the UK,
yes,
what was that like? Because you did some big things there too. So tell us about your local in London.
In London, my life was totally different. I was working in IT. I did computer science university in mathematics. Yeah, I went into IT in finance. So I worked for a software company for about 13 years. And then I ended up running the operations of a bank in London. But yeah, I think a combination of trying to juggle life, being a mother, and just everything else just made me grind to a halt. And I assessed myself and I said, you know what? I don't need to be a superwoman. I just want to do what matters most at the time. And at the time, it was to be present for my children. It came because I realized that, we were just snatching little moments and not spending time talking and shooting the breeze about the world. They didn't know how I thought about my views or anything because I wasn't there to share that and just have this sort of dialogue with them about the world, my viewpoints, what to look out for, what to listen to, all of that. And I just thought that was missing. And I just pressed the pause button and I quit my job. Scary.
I'm sure.
Scary.
Yeah.
And then I got bored after a few months. But, prior to that, we had been buying art from artists in Ghana and all of that. And people were commenting on the art in our home. And some people were even suggesting that I brought art back to sell. And I'm like, why would I do that? But then it just kind of germinated in my mind. I said, why not? So just started coming to Ghana and going to the art center, buying art from there and taking it back. And then it just grew from that. The gallery grew from that. I just run the gallery from home, opened up my home twice or three times in a year and invited people to come in. I built up my own website, just kind of rolled up my sleeves.
There's that tech background.
And then connected to galleries in London and just had some group sort of joint exhibitions together. Yeah, that was for 5 years. And then that really honed my interest in art and artists. I knew them already, but then spending more time with them when I came to visit them, to buy art, understanding the art market a bit more. Yeah, and in England at the time, it was a small niche market. Nobody was interested in art from Africa. We don't get any column inches apart from the local newspaper. And that has changed dramatically in the last 20 years. Right. It's totally different now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Black Swan was that. Wow. Wow. And so now you have this art career or profession. You've taken that step out. And it's interesting you said you got a little bored. And it's so interesting because not for nothing, but I think there's some of us who can be hands-on parents, but still have a vocation in another way. And so I think you were able to craft that in a way that was less pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To just change it, tip balance a bit.
Yeah.
And give priority to what mattered at the time. Yeah. And that Black Swan led to Nubuke because I was working with a number of artists who were late 30s, 40s. But that really made me see that there was a big gap, there's a gap where the younger artists were not very visible. So that led us to figuring out that there was something that needed to be done for the younger artists. And so leaving England to come to Ghana, I thought, I don't want to do the commercial thing because there's something that needs doing. And it's about finding the young artists and finding out why they're not showing and then giving them the opportunity to show. So that's why the foundation was established.
So before founding the foundation, I want to ask you why the where. So obviously you're from Ghana, so it makes sense. But truly, why the where? How did you come to be living and working back in Ghana?
I missed my home. I grew up in a big family where you can be comfortable with cousins, siblings, extended family, and be happy. And I miss that quite a lot. Being in England can be isolating, and the weather, like 6 months on and 6 months off of dark and sunlight was just like, it had gotten to me. But anyway, we had agreed that we'd move back to Ghana, my husband and I. He said we'd give it a try, come and bring the children to come to school in Ghana. But I also felt that, there's always perspectives. And there's something I always ask people when they say to me they're doing international studies. And I always ask them, from whose perspective?
Yes.
Because I felt that, of course, they grew up in England, going to good schools, but there's always the perspective of England. I also wanted to come to Ghana to see that Black people can achieve anything they wanted. Because, of course, being in the minority in England, there's always that ceiling beyond which you don't imagine you can, go over. And I wanted them to know that they could do anything they wanted if they wanted to. So in Ghana, they could see their role models everywhere. There were speakers of parliament who were women. Chief Justice was a woman. Chief of Police have two sons. And of course, it's always things about Black young men in England. And it's always about crime and drugs and all of that. And there's always a white policeman who's arresting them. So I wanted them to also see that there are Black policemen and there's chief police who are also Black. That was quite important for me, that they didn't get into this position where they felt they were second-class citizens in a country which is the land of their birth. They were all born there, So that I felt I needed to give them that, inject that into them, even if it was for a short time.
That's great. So then you've landed. So when you came, did you have the idea that you were going to continue your career in arts?
Yes. In fact, before we set up the foundation, was set up in April 2006 in Ghana, but probably from about 2003, we had the idea of the foundation, and we were working towards it. Because in 2004, we commissioned a photographer to come into Ghana to take pictures of Ghana. He did that for about 18 months. So it's the book, we wanted to land in Ghana on a very high note. We didn't want people to think, who are these guys? Are they serious? Are they going to be a one-day wonder or meteor getting up out there and then burning out? We just wanted to make sure that we came in Ghana with very strongly. So we came with this book publication. I mean, Ghana had been through a lot of economic problems. And it was almost like we had to show Ghana, give Ghanaians back this reflection of Ghana, the beauty of the country, the people, the flora, the fauna, and everything. So that was our first project. So we already started thinking about how we're going to roll out. What is this foundation going to be? What is the first project we want to come up with? So that was a book publication. So by end of 2005, the book was ready. It had been published. It was a beautiful bound photographic book, and it's still very popular 20 years later. It's called Ghana, a Portrait. So, we launched this book at very short notice because we didn't know we could clear it from the harbor. But when we got it all clear, we went to the Goethe Institute and said, this is what we want to do. And they said, yes, yes, yes. Didn't have enough time to sort of publicize this book launch, but just by word of mouth. When I got to the Goethe Institute, I knew that there was a big change coming together. The place was packed with people. So I think people were ready for their souls were beginning to open up for creativity, for whatever their souls could feed on. So it was just a beautiful moment for me that, wow, people are ready. They're no longer cowed by the darkness of coups and economic woes and all kinds of government changes and all that, which had kept the economy really struggling. It's just everybody was like a flower bud coming out. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you landed with a book, and you say we. So tell us about how you decided to come together with the group that you've come together with, and what it's been like building a foundation, because it's not an easy feat. There's a lot into that. So tell us.
So it was my ex. He's not my ex. At the time, we're still married. Tutu Ajari. And then Kofi Sotoji, who's an artist, who I've been working with, of course, coming into Ghana and meeting artists. I met him. He's also very passionate about Ghana, about his work. He already had a foundation where he was living in North Legon. So the idea about what should we do for art in Ghana germinated through our conversations. And then I said to Tutu that, there's somebody already who's thinking the same way that we are thinking. So it makes sense that we come together and do this thing, because more hands on deck. So that was the birth of the foundation at the time. Of course, we make mistakes with how do you set up, but you learn what is the ethos of the foundation. How do you even set up a board? It's like, we have to register this organization. Who should we call? We call people all on board. But it all evolves. You get better at things. You call professionals to work with you and to strengthen the structure. Kofi was with me. We worked together for, maybe he kind of retired in 2019. So he's been pretty much hands-on for about 11 years, the foundation. He's a full-time artist, so I give that to him. He used to find time in his studio and come in here to work. So he was kind of handling 2 jobs at the same time, but he's gone back to full-time practice. And Tutu, very much at the beginning, sort of digging our heels in and putting the money in and kind of driving things. He's very much action man. Let's get things done, let's move things. Let's call this person. Why is this thing not happening? Kind of stuff, So all that energy was necessary, was needed to kind of get the engine running. But it's been a beautiful journey because it was just what was needed. At the time, those who were promoting art in Ghana were the foreign missions. Yeah. So it's like part of their cultural diplomacy. It would be the Goethe, Alliance Française, British Council, the American, I think they had a library, the Italians, everybody had something to do with art. Ghana had the art centers, but because of all the economic issues we've had, the art center is going down and it's still gone down. In fact, I've just read something in the press about them wanting to pull it down. But we all were nurtured in the art centers, going to art exhibitions, for drama, for plays, ballet, whatever cantata, we found ourselves in the art center enjoying something or the other, something creative. So that the foreign missions were playing that role, the state not so much. And so we also felt that it's important to drive things from the perspective of a Ghanaian. Because now we are vindicated because the Americans are no longer there, Italians are not there, the British are not there. The only people standing now are the French and the Germans. So if we're depending on these countries to really drive Ghana's creative sector, depending on what their government wants, if Ghana is not a priority, they just take the knife and chop the budget for that sector in Ghana, and then that's it. So you're really at the mercy or the whims and caprices of another country. So we really needed to create something from the perspective of Ghana, what matters to Ghana, what needs to be promoted, which needs to be highlighted, which needs to be nurtured, which needs to be taught. It was important. It still is. Yeah. Otherwise, we're just kind of,
we're floating
as a nation
in the wind.
What matters is our culture, and we need to make sure that we're investing in it.
I think there's definitely a movement that's moving back to that. Slow, but it's moving. I want to understand Nubuke. Nubuke. What does it mean?
Nubuke means new dawn.
New dawn.
A Nubuke, which means a new dawn has broken.
Okay.
That's an ewe.
Ewe. Okay.
Or you can say Nubuke. So it's almost like dawn is broken. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like new era, new beginnings, new start, new opportunities, everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. It reminds me to ask you about my Glocal speak question. So we want to hear what you hear. So tell us a word, a phrase, or a saying that's a meaningful part of your local experience and why or how you've come to value it as Glocal speak.
Well, there are many. I was thinking about it and I'm like, what the spirit of Ghana, resilience, sense of humor, we see that in our trotros and all these sayings that you find on them, which amuse you or get you to stop and think. So those are kind of I love it because it just kind of encapsulates who we are as a people. And I saw one yesterday. It's like no time to die. And there was one, the one which I sent to my children was like, oh ho! It's like why would you even put such a thing on your
You have to make the effort to
exactly. One of them is like at Heaven's Gate there's no bribe. It's like very apt. Just kind of getting people to think about what they do, how they're doing it. For credits come tomorrow, or tomorrow never comes, all these sort of things are things which I think I look forward to them in my drive to work or my drive anywhere, just to see, what is somebody saying, yeah, exactly.
For credit come tomorrow.
And then tomorrow never comes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the things that I feel ground us in Ghana. It's very, very Ghanaian.
Yeah.
You don't find that anywhere else.
Okay. I love that. I love that. So let me ask you another question about operating in 2006, right? So 20 years ago, you decided on this. So tell us about the founding. We're in this commemorating year, and you put the book out, and then you had this time, and you had to start. So tell us, how did you get started?
We actually started quite slowly, because in spite of recognizing the energy of people and that receptiveness to what was to come, I think we were caught out on the back foot, because it was the book launch, and it was Ghana's 50th anniversary of independence, and we're preparing for an exhibition for that. But then people just kept on saying, "What's next? What are you doing next?" We kind of felt that, oh yeah, we can run the foundation and do, nomadic programming twice a year, and that would suffice. And then just kept on hearing, what's next? Like, there's a high expectation here, and we've kind of not considered that. So yeah, we did the exhibition, which was in March, and just got thinking that there's more that we had to do. So we found this place. So maybe there's a 6-month lapse of, I don't know, maybe not doing nothing. Maybe just probably managing the sales of the book and all that kind of stuff. Nothing serious, because we just didn't fully understand what we started to embark on. And so, but yeah, very fortuitously, we found this house.
Wow. Okay.
Just by looking in the newspapers, because we just realized that we needed to have a place. Because when we had the exhibition in March 2007, we had it at Artists Alliance. They hadn't officially opened the building yet, but we asked Professor Glover to have an exhibition there, and he agreed. So, we knew that we had to find our own place to have an exhibition. So we found this house, just picked up the newspaper and found it advertised in the press. And the process of acquisition came about. And then, of course, it was a residence, somebody's house, but it lends itself to exhibition making. There's a courtyard over there, a skylight here, and just kind of a beautiful, airy place. So we just did a few remodeling, and I think October 2008, we moved in here and started rolling up our sleeves again.
Yeah. So then there's the idea of programming, right? And then expansion, because you have programming and then you expand it to WA.
Yes.
How did that come about? And why WA?
Exactly. Programming, at the beginning, we were kind of like digging furiously, doing exhibitions every 2 months or even less. It's like, gotta do it, gotta keep going. It's like deep breath. And it's like, because I think we're anxious that, we've got to keep
People's interest.
Yeah, and just kind of prove ourselves. But then we realize that actually, because if you go out into the corridor, you see the process of our first exhibitions, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's like, we just realize that actually, you're going to be here, you're going to be fine, people are going to come, you don't need to prove yourselves. And there's a lot of work that goes into exhibition making. And that research and preparation, we felt that we needed to give ourselves that, we needed to give the exhibition time to be, experienced by people, and give it a long run. So then after 2009 and 10, we eased up a bit. But prior to that, it was like, kind of like 100 meters going and going and going. But then I guess it's also, yeah, we realized that, we didn't have to be so hard on ourselves. But one of the things also that drove what we were doing, I think it's from my perspective, is that we needed to make our own money. Yes, there might be people supporting you, but you also needed to pay your own bills. And luckily for us, we embarked on a project in, I think 2008 was when Ghana discovered oil. At the time, I was pitching to somebody who worked for Tullow. I wanted to sell art. And I went to their offices in London. And she took me around the offices. There was an engineer working at the screen, and I just saw this beautiful seismic chart. And I'm like, it's colors, different colors. I'm like, what's that? And she said, oh, it's a seismic graph, and let's go speak to him. So I went to this engineer. He started telling me about the work that they do, when they're prospecting for oil using, waves. And I was fascinated. And I'm like, wow. Because, Ghana has found oil, and everybody's like, oh, we're going to be rich. Ghana's going to be rich. We're going to have money. And it's like, oh, nobody even knew what it was. Yeah. So when I went back, I sent her a message and I said, you know what? I think we should have an exhibition. And this, I'm not even sure what I called an exhibition, but I said we should do something. And we are going to teach young children how their subject matters were being used in the oil industry. And then also showcase what oil is and showcase how it is used. But it was targeted to children, to children. And she was like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. So that was it. We embarked on this project. And they engaged us to do this project, researching with their geologists, their scientists, everybody. I went to Dublin. It was Tullow Oil. Did all this research and came up with this exhibition.
Wow. And that was meant to be here in Ghana?
Yes, in Ghana. So we presented them with the exhibition. I think it was in their offices. And then the managing director said, this exhibition has to go out of here and into the rest of the country. He gave us comments about the content and all of that, but to make it more succinct. But that was about all he said. He said, this exhibition has to travel. So it went from one idea, one project, to 5-year project.
Wow.
Traveling around Ghana.
Wow.
We embarked on this adventure. Beautiful. They gave us opportunity to see Ghana, the length and breadth of the country, everywhere, anywhere, districts, capitals, villages, children, adults, communities, everything. So this exhibition went round the entire country. And that's how come we landed in Wa.
Okay.
We landed in Wa, and the people in Wa are very peculiar. Somebody comes in and says, what you doing? Oh, we have an exhibition on Ghana, on oil, and we want to showcase. He said, oh, okay, I'm going to bring my family. And he goes off, brings his wife and child on the motorbike. And I'm like, I've never seen this anywhere in Ghana. And that is who they are. They're curious people. They don't have any fear to ask who you are, what you're doing, but they really engage with you. And that's how it began. Just same. So we also said, if somebody's given us the opportunity to travel the country, we are also going to use this opportunity to know who's doing what.
Yeah.
So we were also doing our research.
Right.
Who is doing what? What are the arts in this space? What is it? And the Centers for National Cultures are crucial for the knowledge in Ghana about anything, everything. So they helped us considerably to meet the communities. So in the Upper West, we met the weavers. Weavers everywhere, on the street corners, all the villages and all of that. And, engaging with them, one of the weaving associations said to us, they also were like, who are you? We are artists. We are working here. This is the work we're doing. And then one of them just said, why don't we continue working together? We want to work with you. The work that we're doing, we want to reach different markets. Sometimes we don't know what to do. We think you can help us to do it. It's true. Why not? And so that was it.
Okay.
a relationship with the weaving community in the Nadoli. It's called Nadoli, just outside of Wa. So lots of workshops, design thinking. We got into a collaboration with the University of Applied Arts in Vienna. So the faculty used to come down and, just continual workshops with this community, learning about them, learning more about the weaving, and giving them ideas, how to circumvent issues with supply and the market and who to reach. Endless workshops with them. And then we also, did things like entrepreneurship, bookkeeping,
Right. So building the sector, giving artists the tools.
Yeah. So the artisans. Yes. So we did all of this. So lots of workshops. We got more grants to do this work. In 2001, we got a grant from EU to really strengthen the sort of workshops that we do with them. That ran for 3 years. By the time we had that grant, we decided to have a festival because we said, we're doing so much work with this community. The community is really building up. They're really proud of what they're doing. We need to showcase it to themselves and to others. Because people hear, oh, we've gone to what are you doing? I said, you've got to come and see what we're doing. These are Ghanaians. They're people like you and I, with the same ambitions, but we've come together. We've come with our friends, from Austria, and we're working together to build this beautiful, partnership. So yeah, the festival came. We were going to start in 2020, and then COVID came. So we shifted to 2021. So it's been beautiful ever since.
And tell us the name of the festival.
Worry.
Yes.
Worry Festival. Worry means to weave. But there's actually a Worry Festival in South Korea. Oh. And I found out, and I was in Korea, and I met somebody and said, he said worry means, togetherness or something like that. But there's a bank called Worry and everything. But, at the Worry Festival, it's just been a beautiful journey. And just, as I said, showcasing the community who they are. We call it the promoting the wealth and the worth of the people. Presenting that back to them. Because their weaving is different. And some of the workshops we've done with them, we also had a grant from British Council during COVID to see how we can use digital platforms to commission weaving. So we've got designers together with them. So different opportunities for the weavers. And we wanted to really showcase what we're doing. We also work with 2 schools, the blind school and the deaf school. They also weave. The deaf school do the normal strip textiles. The deaf are doing furniture weaving. So again, doing workshops with them, giving them opportunities to meet with other artists and other professionals to really strengthen the work that they do. And showcase them also in the festival. We actually took the chairs of the blind children to the Royal Academy exhibition in London.
Wow.
Yeah, the summer exhibition.
Wow. Yeah. That's so wonderful. Yeah. And so you started here at this one house.
Indeed.
And now the forethought of having all this land has offered you the opportunity to scale. So tell us about how the gallery's building.
Yeah. So, of course, when we landed and started working with the artists, it just kind of opened up a space which was, people are shut off. And so the artists themselves, were beginning to embrace what Nubuke stood for, exhibitions here and there, opportunities within our networks, and also then, finding that people were not interested, who's doing what, and then giving them also opportunities either here or abroad. But in the meantime, we also sort of collaborating or just kind of touching base with the university, the College of Art and University. And at some point, I think in 2013, I went there for one of their graduate exhibitions, and I saw this massive body of works by the students. And I said to them, what are you going to do with this? So yeah, it's just a graduate exhibition, and it's that. And I said, no. This exhibition has to come to Ghana, Accra. So we sent a big truck because they're doing bold installation work.
Sure.
Bold, just kind of like letting loose and just creating beautiful pieces, thought-provoking pieces. And I just thought, this thing's got to get out in university. Bring it to Accra, we'll have this exhibition here for you, and everything. It was phenomenal. And I think that those sort of little things that we're doing just kind of began to open the door a bit more for the artists, for the community, for other creatives as well. Just to see that actually I don't need to bottle my creativity, even when there's uncertainty. I'm going to expose it and see what happens. And I think that's the beauty of what we're doing, that people were anxious. Parents were anxious. What are you trying to do? Why are you getting my child to be in this space? How are they going to make money?
And the big question,
It's a big question. A very genuine concern. They were willing to take that gamble. And a lot of the young ones coming from university, even some of them, I think they had the creative, spirit, but they went to study economics or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of that.
But came back. Came back to find themselves in this space in some way or the other. If not here, with other artists, forming some collectives or just finding opportunities, to really, strengthen themselves with their concepts, ideas, and thoughts. In the beginning, we did a lot of group exhibitions in a way to bring them together, but also to strengthen them. Because on their own, they were kind of floundering, but together, they just kind of found ways to, also get more peers to work with. And so we did a lot of those exhibitions. So the group exhibitions, we find time to read or even put them together with academics or other people who had knowledge about that subject, just to help them to think, because also thinking through the concepts and ideas. What is this concept? How do I want to, present it? What is the materials that I want to use? Is it strong enough? Is it compelling? Those opportunities were necessary because ordinarily they would not have gone through that process. And so it was almost like a incubation space.
Right, yeah.
Intensely going through that process to get out and be honed and coming out. So we did that quite a lot at the beginning. And then, it grew. They all found their own spaces. But, the gallery, because they were no longer that interested in paintings, because the university had been pushing them. The university also had their critique sessions going about how art was being taught. And, if you don't bring a painting, then you're not an artist. Some of the lectures were challenging that. I said, what is this art? What can it be? How can people express themselves without having, using this prescribed Western-centric approach? So that was going on. And so the artists were, they were liberated. Again, just like textiles, fiber, discarded shoes, clothes, wood, whatever. Let's delve into the materialism of this and see what is my artwork going to be. So then I realized that, this space might just not be containing these things which are coming out of university. Because when we had that exhibition of the students, we had things, enveloping the building all the way around. Inside, we had all these installations of stones and paper and kiosks and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, wow, okay, if this is the way we are going, you can't really be containing them in an old residential building. You have to create a place that we can open for them to show their work. So the idea was germinating maybe 3-4 years before, but we needed to find the money. So just kind of like, we need to get this gallery. So the tech exhibition was 2013 or so. So around about that time, kind of figured out that now This space was not enough. So yeah, I saw the flat that because I wanted to do. I mean, at that time,
So you self-funded it. Wow. Yeah. So no capital campaigns, like just yeah.
and that's how we are very different from the US. I just asked someone to represent me at a conference run by an organization called Myriad. They kind of help people raise money through a platform.
Yeah.
And he's giving me the presentation. I mean, America is a totally different world so far as fundraising and support, philanthropy for any sector, education, culture, health, and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. So, but in Ghana, we are really not there yet. But I mean, my point also was that if you can do it, just go ahead and do it.
Just do it.
Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of felt, and I also get very impatient about things, and I'm like, you're time wasting.
Right.
Let's get this.
Right.
Let's get this show on. Let's get things moving. Yeah. So I said, well, okay, let's do this thing. Yeah, at the beginning to just put a lot of money in the foundation and all of that, and then we got divorced. Yeah, we got divorced about a couple of years later. So I'm kind of like on my own. So that running the foundation with Kofi. I mean, he's still interested, but he's a bit removed, and he's still on the board. He gives advice and all of that, but he's not. He's like a bit removed. So I just thought, well, you can do it, so do it. So I did it.
And you did.
So yeah, we just kind of felt that you've got to do this thing. And we asked a couple of architects, and then we asked Babel, who we've been working with. She was a lecturer from University of Applied Arts. She used to bring her students here for presentations and all of that. And we kind of felt that, the first few people we asked suggested that we pull this building down. But she was like, no, we've got to keep this building. This is Nubuke. This is your... The soul of Nubuke started here. And let's see how we can keep the building and build something else that would speak with it. I'm like, ooh, that's a different idea. It's a beautiful one. And the building is a reflection of who we are. She's encapsulated the openness. I wanted it to be a naturally lit as much as possible. Also ventilation, naturally as much as possible. The role that this tree, the almond tree, plays in Nubuke, because we're always under it. Lots of workshops take place there, lots of conversations take place there, and she's so anchored it in between the two buildings. So speaking to it all the time. That's beautifully thought through. So yeah, it's the only thing that we took out was a ramp for access, but the ramp was, these ramps, we had to be gentle, so it was almost like taking the entire
lot of the,
and I'm like, so now we have to find the money to get a lift. So that's the only thing we're not able to do. But we didn't tweak much into the building. It was like building the side of the building, the sun hits both sides, so there's no direct sunlight in it and all that. It's just so beautiful. And the green either side of it, looking into the garden on the side, and the garden, the plantation. We used to have a plantation all the way around until Ghana
became. Yes. I remember, it used to be, and now there's a high rise on the corner. Now, it's a whole
no stress. It's a whole different
place. Yeah.
Stressing,
exactly. So what's new and next? You're not a one-woman show, but you have collaborators and things like that. What is new and next? What do you see in the next 20 years for?
I have been thinking quite a lot about succession and also shoring up our defenses with some more money, and I think there's so many things the Nubuke should be doing, could be doing, that we haven't been able to do because we don't have that much funds. I mean, the last 3-4 years, the art market has not been that great. In Ghana, the currency has not been so strong. So those who are your typical clients are also, suffering from the economic crisis. So that's one of the reasons why I sent someone to Myriad to see how we can start, looking for funds outside instead of pushing the boat out a bit more and looking for support. And also some of the artists, some of them promised to give us artwork and all of that. So we are working on all of that. But I think we should be looking at, a good investment foundation, which allows us to kind of keep doing the work that we're doing, but even more. I mean, I think that we should be in the digital space a bit more with things like these, like programs, conversations online that people can listen to, even ways to engage with artists with professionals, legal expertise, and all of that. There's different things that we can do. Publications are a big, worry for me because I feel I listened to this. Somebody shared a link to me for a conversation. I can't remember her name, but she said, "If it is not in matter, it will not matter." And I'm like, oh my God.
Meaning if it's not a material, manifestation.
But it's because, when people are looking for information, they go online and any rubbish that they see,
they take as
gospel. And even when it's printed material, you have to make sure that there's this rigorous process in making sure the publication comes out and it's factual and you've done a good research. So we really need to invest in publications. Again, goes back to why we set up as an institution, the perspective. Who is talking about us? Many years ago, I met some of the researchers there's a huge body of researchers on African history from Accra, and they're all Americans. American institutions put a lot of money into researching African art, African culture. And so when we were doing our research, the journals that used to come up were American. And at the time, JSTOR wouldn't allow, just anybody to access. So I wrote them a nice letter and said, listen, this is who we are. And really, we do need to get access. So credit to them, they gave us free access to their,
That's good.
Their library.
That's great.
But now I think it's available to everybody. But at that time, it wasn't. And they gave us access to the library. Because when you start working with artists and creatives, the context, who's doing what, where, and what is everybody else around them doing. So that context under which they're putting is very, very important. And sometimes you don't get that information. But like I was saying, the Centers for National Culture are really very important because when you get to that town, you find a Center for National Culture researcher or field worker. They can tell you who the drummers are, who the musicians are, who the weavers are, everything about our community, So we need to get into publications. We need to do more internationally with international artists. I think it's very important. We spend a lot of time trying to get artists out, but the reciprocal is key. If you don't have that money, it's difficult to kind of get people serious about what you want to do. And now also funding for the arts is really very constricted. It starts with the world economy and with Mr. Trump. That is actually, I was very amazed to find that just by pulling the plug on some of the international agencies, it actually is like domino effect in other sectors that you don't even imagine. Because he may be funding this institution, but that institution is also funding
this network of others.
And it's just kind of like cascading down. So by pulling the plug, it's really affected a lot of funding agencies, those who might support the arts, even people coming in here to buy art has done that. And so narrow sort of window for you to find money to do anything. But it means you have to be creative.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. Which leads me to ask you about your mindset hack. How do you hack your mindset? Something that you do, something you've observed.
I've learned to be patient. I know I'm very impatient. I said that already. And also, I don't know whether it comes with maturity, age, when you realize that there's some things that are beyond your control. And so if it's beyond your control, you don't stress and you let it go. We've had countless occasions where we've worked with somebody or embarked on a project with somebody and the person just kind of pulls out, or, and you're like, oh my God, I've invested so much time and effort in this thing. But then I realize years later, somebody comes along or something comes along and like, hang on, I have that research sitting somewhere else. And it's so uncanny. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, this is my lesson. I'm not going to stress about things that go wrong, because
that's a strong muscle to build.
Yeah. And my staff tell me about it. And I talk to them and they're like, oh, deal. So no, it's just kind of just, they are young and I'm older. So I guess they're thinking, I need to talk about this thing and I need to deal with this matter in this way. And I'm like, calm down.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. And, I've learned it. Sometimes you get irritated by what somebody has done and you want to, and I said,
take a beat sometimes. Yeah.
And maybe I'll even talk about it tomorrow or the week after. And I'm like, last week, this is what, happened and whatever. By that time, it's totally
off,
diffused, and it's just something you slip into a conversation. It's conversationally, without it being, confrontational. I've learned it. I've realized I don't have to talk about something then. Of course, there are situations where you've got to, but most cases I just kind of step back and leave it.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good mindset hack, because stress will kill us.
Yeah.
And so, easy once not easy, but that's really great.
You can address that matter, but you can address it later.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it's incendiary when you want to kind of deal with the matter then and all kinds of stuff happen. And you think it through and you say, okay, I'll deal with it later.
So speaking of later, what do you do when you're not working and building the foundation? Are you a reader? Are you a watcher? Are you a listener? What are some of your favorites?
So I love reading. I love poetry, but I have books on the go. I'll show them to you. These are the books I have on the go.
Okay, so those travel. So like you pick one up and take it with you. African Women and Feminism. I love this.
Yeah. So it's Susanna.
Oh my gosh. So there's a new book that speaks about African thinkers that are necessary.
Okay. Is she one of them?
She's one of them.
Yeah.
Oyeronke Oyewumi. Yes.
I met her many years ago and she gave me this book. And I put it down. And then one day I started reading. I'm like, she just talks about how people talk about us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most of the time about some academics who just kind of make lazy assumptions about and define women. Mm-hmm. And I've also discovered lately that I love history. I hated history as a child. Mm-hmm. I hated it with a passion. But then we used to travel a lot on holiday. And I realized that I had to know where we were going. Yeah. Where are we going? Who are these people? Mm-hmm. And it's knowing their history. So then I do that quite a lot. I just saw this book at the airport. There's this wonderful bookshop at the airport called Night Riders or something. And they always have books. I'm going to Sweden next week.
Oh, okay. So SSG of Scandinavia. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to learn a bit more about Scandinavia.
Yeah.
I remember is Vikings, but I don't remember anything else.
Yeah.
And then this was also a book. I saw 28th February. 28th February was the day when the British killed the soldiers when they were routing near the castle. Yeah. But then I thought, 28th February. Yeah, she's related to one of the soldiers, but it's a storybook. Fiction.
Okay.
So I thought, let me read that.
20th February, okay.
And this is another book I have on the go.
The Longest Week.
The Longest Week. So it talks about the story of Jesus and the week leading up to his crucifixion. But he centers it based on geology, meteorological records and records about geological records as well.
Wow.
So
an earth
when the
study.
earth went dark, he kind of pinned it down to AD 33 because there was an earthquake and there was an eclipse. So yeah, he kind of centers the history in that week and that. So for me, it's fascinating.
Sure. Yeah.
So that is me. I've always got things going.
I love it. That's a great list. Very diverse. So we have some great tips that will be in the show notes. Odile, this has been so wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your generosity and your time and telling the story and for your work.
Yes.
Yeah, this is selfless work. And hopefully people will hear this and answer the call to be part of the arts movement in Ghana, the Pan-African arts movement. Let us get back to
there's
ourselves.
Definitely a lot of work to be done. Yeah, we're just at the nascence of it. And so, and for me, it's important that we're appreciating it here. Yes, our artists are known internationally. They're ambassadors of Ghana, but it matters here as well.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Any last thoughts you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, that's it. I think, it matters here.
Yes.
It matters right here in Ghana. We have to appreciate our own, invest in our own, and look out for our own. And so that's how our journey began, just looking out for who's there, who are they.
And support our arts institutions. So there will be show notes that will get you to know how you can support.
Sure.
And come and visit.
Indeed. Yeah. Great.
All right, Glocal citizens, this has been another episode of the podcast. You can catch us Tuesdays with new episodes at glocalcitizenspod.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave us a review, check out the show notes. I love to say that. And let's be engaged. That's how we make progress. Until next time, bye for now.